This is an M54 that I bought on Facebook Marketplace for £400. It's got almost 200,000 miles on it, and I know nothing about the history of it. Let's take it apart. But first, a brief history lesson. This is part of the M5X series of engines. By that I mean the M50, the M52 and the M54. They are all roughly the same footprint, the bell housings are roughly the same, the engine mountings are roughly the same, so they're all kind of interchangeable. So, the early M50s were iron block, not a huge amount of power, but they're loved by drifters because you can turbo them. They're super expensive. M52s, the 2.8 like I've got in my E36, also quite pricey. But M54, that's a 3 litre lump, 220 to 250 horsepower, depending on how much love you give it, for 400 quid. That's cheap horsepower, when my E34 has a 2 litre version of the M50, what's that, 150 horsepower? For 400 quid, I can almost double it. So why am I making this video? This engine came from the place that you buy your engines. Well, some of us do, Facebook Marketplace. It allegedly has 180-ish thousand miles. I have no history of it whatsoever, other than it runs. So I'm gonna kind of go through it, give it a quick health check. You know, it's a lot of work to put it into a car and then find out that it's knackered. So we're gonna strip the wiring harness off because it's got an auto ECU on it, so I need to pick out the auto bit because it's going in a manual car. Take the coils out, we'll do a leak down test, probably drop a few of the shells out, see if it's got knackered bearings, maybe give those a refresh. It's got a sump leak, so that needs resealing. Cam cover gasket's knackered like they always are on Beamers, so we'll replace that. So yeah, kind of a quick tear down, have a look inside. I of course have done this in my garage where there is no room whatsoever. First port of call, going to whip the coils out and we'll get a leak down tester in, because I could do a compression test but there's no oil in it. I don't really want to run it with no oil in, that's not good. Spark plugs are out. First port of call. It's a first indication of how well the engine's running. They're all pretty equal. They're a bit oily because the cam cover leaks, but they're all matching, but they look a bit old and knackered. There we go. They're a bit crusty, but they're NGKs. They're not, you know, they're not terrible brand. The gaps aren't humongous, which means, you know, over time the gaps will erode away like my Mini did. And then you get misfires because the spark can't jump the gap. It's nice also, the coils are all genuine BMW ones. I don't know if they're original, it's hard to tell, so I can't find the date stamp, but yeah, it's nice to see a full set of BMW coils. It wouldn't surprise me if they're original, because these actually last. Right, all the bolts are out. The cam cover, this can now come off as a unit. And we can take a look inside. Not ideal. So if we have a look in here, bring you up. There's a lot of crap in here, which indicates it probably hasn't had the most oil changes in its life, but I've seen a lot worse. And weirdly, the gasket's actually fairly soft. Normally on BMWs, cam cover gaskets just go rock hard and crumble, and then you get cam cover leaks and then oil all the way down the side of your engine. But if you look at the side of this one, it's actually fairly dry. So someone's looked after it to an extent. But yeah, it's not ideal, but we'll carry on. The reason I wanted to take the cam cover off was so I could see where the cams are in relation to each cylinder. So this is a leak down test. I think I showed it in the how to check an engine's running correctly video, but we'll go over it briefly again. Air comes in here, and then it spits it back out here, and then measures how much of that air leaks down. So a cylinder, it will never be 100% sealed, but it should be pretty well sealed. Anything above 15% leakage is not ideal. It means that the compression's either disappearing through the piston rings or through the valves, or maybe a crack in the block or a knackered head gasket. There's all these places that compression can disappear. But by doing this, you can hear where the compression's going. You'll either hear it out the exhaust side or the inlet side, or out the block, if, you know, worst case scenario. But it means I can do it without having to, you know, do a compression test and potentially ruin things with no oil in the engine. I've got my air compressor attached to this end, so we'll just do we'll do one and then I'll share the results with the rest. So cylinder 1, which is furthest away from the gearbox, both lobes on both camshafts are pointing up, which means the valve is closed. So in theory, this cylinder should be sealed. So we screw the little adapter jobby in. The kit comes with different sizes depending on what spark plug size you've got, and then we pop that in there and then wind on the boost. And then instantly we hear a noise, which is not... I've just remembered, I'm an idiot, firstly. But secondly, of course I'm going to have leak down because there's no oil pressure. And these are hydraulic lifters, which means the compression's just going to disappear. We might have to scrap this and we'll just check everything else. I've just checked 2 of the cylinders and of course there's no compression because, they're hydraulic lifters and there's no oil pressure. So the valve is just kind of bobbing there. It's never going to seal. So ideally I need to do a compression test on this, but it's got no oil in it. So for now we'll just assume that it's got compression. That's the worst thing to do, but I saw it run. So for now I'm going to just carry on and then we'll come back to the compression test at some point. I'm just going to interrupt this video to thank this week's supporter. TOPDON have sent me their TOPSCAN, which is one of those little dongles that connects to your phone, but this one is very different. Not only does it have the usual code reading ability like all other scanners, this also has a database of DTCs, so you can have a look and look up different codes. Let's do a P101, which is a very simple code. We'll do P1000 actually, and then you select the make. BMW, secondary air delivery. And then it gives you probable reasons of why you have a code, which will help with your diagnosis. Not only can you scan ECUs with it, it also lets you do things like throttle adaptation, resetting your DPF, resetting your airbag lights, sorting the BMS. So on new cars, when you install a new battery, you have to tell the BMS, excuse me, you've got a new battery. This tool can do it all. I really like using these kinds of scan tools because you can just pop it in your pocket or in the glove box and it's always there when you need it. You don't need a massive screen or a laptop, and you can do 99% of the things you do with a dealer tool. If you have a look in the description, there is a 20% off code for this till the end of the weekend. That's why I'm doing the video on Friday, just for you. Anyway, back to taking that engine apart. One thing I forget when I take engines apart is how much of a mess they make and how much space they take up. Right, I've whipped off the alternator and the alternator bracket to give me a little bit more room. I'm going to pop the sump off. I'll show you. So, the sump is very oily. This is going to need resealing. But what I want to do this for is have a look at maybe 1 or 2 of the bearings just to make sure they're not horrendously worn. If they are, then we'll put a set of bearings in it. If they're not, then we'll just kind of pretend it never happened and carry on with life. Right, this sump is ready to come off, I think. One thing we should mention while we're talking about sumps is the one thing that varies between the M5X like block are the sumps and then exhaust manifolds dependent on what chassis they're in. Sometimes inlets as well, but generally the thing you'll see people mention is the sump is different. So for example, if I want to put this M54 into my E34, I need to nick the sump and the oil pickup and all that bits and bobs. Otherwise it won't go past the cross member. If I put it in my E36, again, we need the sump off the M52. Again, the car's in the way. But other than that, the blocks are pretty much the same. The engine mounting points are pretty much the same. So most of it's just a drop-in solution. I'm going to hope the previous owner was not telling me porky pies when he said he'd drained all the oil out, because if he hasn't, this is going to make a mess. Because obviously I didn't check. You can tell why it leaks. That just falls off. I need to be careful because the dipstick is still attached the other side. There we go. Lift it off the dipstick. Oh, there's a bit of oil. Lucky that I've actually put a box underneath. Yeah, we'll let that just drain a bit, and then we'll have a quick gander in here. No, it's not too bad. There's a dribble. Oh, it's missed the bucket completely. I've made a mess. One moment, let's clear this up before we continue. Well, it's not terrible. It's a little bit sludgy, like the top end was, but it's an engine that's done almost 200,000 miles. What are you going to expect? But The oil chain's got a little bit of slack in it, but they always do. I think is it on the M50 these come loose? Or the M52? One of them. They come loose. But there's no massive play in the oil pump that I can feel. When I was up top, I checked the other chain and there wasn't a huge amount of play in it. So yeah, I'm going to whip off this windage guard, I think is the term, along with the pickup tube, of which there's no crap in the pickup tube. So yeah, it's not looking terrible. We'll get this windage thing out first and then we'll have another look. The windage thing is off. Luckily, two of the big end bearings are facing me, so let's slacken these off. This is all as it happens as well, so hopefully it's not terrible. Luckily these engines aren't really known for doing bearings, unlike the later BMW engines, which we don't talk about anymore. But yeah, let's just pop one off and we'll have a little quick goosey gander. Well, it's got a BMW badge on, that means it's original. Well, an original part. Let's have a little look. Oh, that really isn't that bad. So there we go. That's the cap side, so the bottom side of the bearing. And if you just wipe all the crud off, I mean, yes, it's worn, but you can barely see any copper. That's impressive. They really knew what they were doing when they built these engines. And then that's the top side, which, yes, there's wear again, but nothing crazy. There's no like scoring or anything. I mean, there's a tiny bit, but I'm probably going to put a set of bearings in this because for the price and the insurance of doing so, at least I will extend the longevity of this engine. And if I put a little bit of boost through it, it might make it last a bit longer. And then this is now a main, so that's one of the bearings that holds the crankshaft to the block. I've loosened it off and we'll pop it out, and wow. That, if you know what a new bearing looks like, where's my cloth gone? Let's give it a wipe. If you knew what a new bearing looks like, that, I mean, yes, there's a tiny bit of scoring, but considering this thing's done almost 200,000 miles, that's pretty impressive, isn't it? I mean, there's a tiny bit of wear in the middle, but even the edges have still got all their coating. That's mad. If you compare that to the bearings that I've taken out of some, what, 100,000 mile engines, that's mad. So yeah, I'm tempted to put a new set in, and then, yeah, we've got the insurance of hopefully another 200,000 miles. Now, this video is probably going to be slightly anticlimactic because I was going to take the head off that engine, but knowing M54s, they are renowned for pulling their head studs out of the block. So if I do that, then I'm in a world of pain. And I have no real need to do that, other than if I was going to put a thicker head gasket on to boost it, which I don't plan to right now. I don't even have a plan of what to do with that engine yet. I just bought it because it was cheap. It's probably going to end up in the E36 or maybe the E30. I don't know, but it's a spare engine. But yeah, so the M54 is kind of, it's a cheap way to get 200 horsepower, hence why I did it. So yeah, it's probably going to end up in the E34, but we'll see. I'd like some ideas in the comments of what I should do with it. Either boost it or just leave it NA, put a manual gearbox on the back of it and just use it, because it's done almost 200,000 miles, so I don't see any reason why it's going to do another 200,000 miles. Tune in next week for something different.